It's time to get bucked up. The Bull Saloon is now open. Brought to you by Buck U Distillery. Pull up a seat. Must be 21 to participate. Please drink responsibly. Let's check in with Newman and see what we're sampling today.
All right, today is the Bull Saloon, your Wednesday installment, Whiskey Wednesday.
Wednesday.
I got Daryl in studio today, and we might not give you a recipe, but we're going to hook you up on some knowledge about Buck U Distillery and how stuff is made.
Yes.
We like to drink it, but nobody knows how it's made.
Exactly. We're from Kansas. There's not a lot of this industry around to learn from, right?
Lots of breweries.
A lot of breweries, a lot of wineries. I was a moonshiner, so it's kind of a little different game.
You got any White Lightning in your trunk?
Well, yeah, here you go.
Oh, man.
The old gallon milk jugs.
Yeah, it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And let's give people a rundown. We're going to call this Buck University.
Yeah,
we're going to give people a lowdown on how this stuff is made at Buck U Distillery.
So you want to learn how to make moonshine is what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Well, we probably ought to start right there because the term moonshine isn't really a legal term for a distillery term for liquor.
Right.
What it is it's just referring to illicitly distilled or smuggled liquor. Right. So you're not paying any tax on that. You're smuggling it out the door. Government's not real fond of that kind of stuff.
Not so much.
Yeah, they like their taxes. So what we'll talk about today is what does a distillery really do?
Right.
So when I go from making moonshine over into the legal world of distillery, there's this thing called truth in advertising, and it's really for you guys' benefit, so you understand what you're getting in a product.
In radio, we call that theater of the mind.
So what happens in my world is, first of all, I've got to determine what kind of alcohol I'm going to make, and those are defined by the government's classes.
Right.
So you got whiskey, you got vodka, neutral spirit, gin, things like that are classes, rums. They're different classes of spirit.
Right.
And what that is, that's what determines that class is how that product's made.
Right.
Okay, so to start out with, we're going to have to make a mash here today, Newman.
Okay.
Okay.
So where are we going to get the mash from?
Well, what a mash is.
What are we using first?
Exactly. So we're going to decide, what do you want to make, like a whiskey or a gin or a vodka is what we're going to have to decide in order to make our mash. And here's why. Is because what the mash is the fermenting material.
Right.
Like a grain or a fruit or a sugar, right?
Case of 92.9, the Bull Saloon. Let's go whiskey.
Whiskey. Okay, so we're going to use grains to make our mash.
All right.
Okay, and then we're going to have water and yeast in that grain.
Okay.
That's what's going to make the mash, so it's really going to be a beer.
Okay.
Right? You're going to use some grain, you're going to put it in there, you're going to ferment it.
Right.
It's going to come up to maybe 3 to 5% alcohol, somewhere in that range, and it's really just beer at that point.
Right.
Now, the type of grain you put in that is going to determine what kinds of whiskey that is.
Okay.
The end result. Okay, so once we've made our mash, and in this instance, we're going to use some grain.
Okay.
Okay, so let's, maybe we go with a bourbon mash grain.
Okay.
What that's going to be is like some corn and some rye.
Right.
Okay. We put our yeast in that. We put our water in that. And we ferment that to alcohol.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
So now that we've done that, we need to distill that alcohol off of the mash.
Everybody out in Bull Nation right now, write this down. Not
Please
really.
Don't do this in your garage.
No, don't do it in your garage.
It's highly illegal. The government does not approve.
21, please drink responsibly.
Yeah.
Be 21, and you know what the deal is. But okay, let's go with the rye. What do we got?
Yeah, so here's what we're going to do is, there's different types of stills for different types of distilling.
Okay.
So, for an example, I have down at the distillery, and you can see these if you come down and visit us, is we have column stills, reflux stills, we have pot stills.
Right.
We have Liebarger stills.
I actually know exactly everything that you're talking
Perfect,
about.
right? So you kind of understand that.
Yeah.
You're laughing, right? Are you with me on this?
No, I totally am. I might be a radio guy on the radio, but I know how I've been around some places.
So we're gonna make, we made our mash. We're gonna take that and put it in our still.
Okay.
So now we've got to decide what kind of still head we're going to use, determining which kind of liquor we're going to make.
Right.
So if we were going to use a column reflux still, we'd be making some vodka.
Right.
We're going to use a
because it gets everything out of it.
Yes, it cleans it up to
Yeah.
190 proof alcohol or better.
Right.
With whiskey, we don't want to go that clean with it, right? We want to come with some flavor, so we're going to go about 130 proof. So
Right.
We're going to use a pot still. We're going to put that in our pot, and we're going to run this through the distillation process.
Right.
So distillation process is very important. This is how you're going to separate that alcohol from that mash or that water that
Right.
you made, or that beer, right?
Right.
Okay, so here's the secret to that whole thing.
Okay.
173 degrees and 212 degrees. Now you ask, what do those matter, right? Here's why they matter. It's because at 173 degrees, that's when alcohol evaporates.
Right.
Okay?
Yep.
212 degrees is when water evaporates.
Right.
So between 173 and 212,
Okay.
you're making alcohol.
Right.
Right? It's going to come up through that column, distill, come
And
back
evaporate
through,
back down through.
turn back into water through the evaporation process and come out as liquor.
Right.
So you've just made your alcohol.
Sweet.
Right?
I'm in.
So that's kind of the basic process. You got to make a mash. You've got to distill that mash off. Now, the rest of that, like we're doing whiskey.
Right.
So at that point, we've got to make a decision. We're going to age that whiskey.
And that's where the barrel factors come in.
Where the barrel factor.
Burned wood or...
That's right. What char level you're going to do it at. You know, is it going to be a light number 1 char, which is just lightly toasted? Or are you going to go with a real heavy alligator char? And that's what's going to give that whiskey that real oaky, smoky flavor that it gets in the end result.
Right.
So that's kind of that basic process. Now, the other thing that can happen is you can flavor those liquors that you made.
Right.
So you could make a flavored whiskey, right? You could add some cinnamon to it or some apples or cherry.
Maybe cherry.
Right.
Like you guys have at the
like
distillery.
A buck cherry whiskey,
Yeah.
right? So that is the basic process of how you distill and make alcohol. Now, it's a little more complicated than that.
You actually have to see it. I mean, you have to go down to Bucky Distillery and understand what's going on down in your operation. I've been to various distilleries on the other side of the state line, let's put it that way. And it's amazing to see the amount process that goes. It's actually easier for people to understand it if they go inside the distillery
and watch it and follow it. Exactly. You know, so that's kind of the fun part is the next step, which is determining what are we going to make and how are we going to end up in our end result.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, that's the whole deal.
Yeah, so when you make that mash, you're either making a wine or a beer or something like that, and then you're going to distill that and turn that into like a vodka or rum or a whiskey. So to define those things that you're going to make.
Let's be clear though, you guys do a whiskey,
Yes.
rum,
Yep.
vodka,
Yep.
and
Brandy.
brandy.
We do gin. Now, we're not selling gin yet, but we've got a lot of test gins ready to make our final product.
If you want to find out more about Bucky Distillery, stop by and see those guys down in Ottawa, Tuesday through Friday, 11 to 5, Saturdays, 11 to 4. Their distillery is right off 68 Highway underneath the water tower in Ottawa, and you can find out more at buck-u.com. Also, like them on Facebook. We're going to have another installment of our Buck University coming up again tomorrow for your Thursday installment of The Bull Saloon. It's 92.9 The Bull.